The next presentation is from Ramki, no, and that is, I don't know the title.
My name is Sastry.
Yeah, but
I'm General Manager.
no, the title of the paper.
Policy and financing issues.
Okay, policy and financial issues.
Morning, everybody. Switching back to this somewhat dry issue from the ash management is somewhat difficult, but I will try my best. I have some photographs to what the Europe or the USA was doing 1920 and what we are here today. Though I do not wish to dwell on these photographs. Compared, these are very, they cause very eyesore. But compared to the photographs that were displayed yesterday, where ladies were sitting and trying to make bags and supposed to be the waste management, this is the hard fact and reality of life. We have tried enough composting and we have realized that these are the residues that are still going to the dump site. So these three photographs are very important for my presentation. Thanks to Professor Thimilis, today we have been given a good lecture on what some of the experiences abroad or with regard to the solid waste management. US EPA, they said the source reduction including reuse, recycling, including community composting and disposal, waste combustion, preferably with energy recovery and landfilling. Italy, so many decrees and directives of the European Union, again foster differential collection, progressive disuse of landfills, priority given to the recovery of material, compost and generate energy. But for Greece, most of the European nations follow this. When it comes to India, when the discourse takes place on these options, I still see that we are a little shying away, and the word combustion or incineration is regarded as a taboo. I don't know why. The experiences till now, greatly captured by Mr. Nema yesterday, but I would like to add some points here. The administration of Vijayawada must be congratulated, for they are very progressive. Since 2000, they have tried their hand at all forms of waste management. Composting, biomethanation, waste to energy and whatnot. Andhra Pradesh leads with 2 waste to energy projects of yesteryears, operated between 2003 to 2008, that helped the technical community to understand the fundamentals and to effect certain course corrections in the present roadmap. The plant making RDF at Chandigarh is working and is claimed as a CSR activity. I understand it is a CSR activity. It is not a PPP. It is not a waste management for profit. Thanks to the Lucknow project, the biomethanation operation is being now exercised with caution. But then we have one plant at Sholapur, I believe is operational. Yesterday we are told by the Additional Commissioner BMC that they have installed or they are in the process of installing a 3000 TPD bioreactor technology. Time will answer that. There is no authentic information as yet on the pyrolysis project supposed to have been commissioned in September 2012 at Pune. High time that we have some information perhaps today from the Okla plant. Now let us also do some failure analysis. The 2 WTE plants in AP commissioned in November, December respectively, they operated till 2008, of course with the support of biomass. The Vijayawada plant is also registered under CDM and they have received revenues. There was no tipping fee for these plants, and in turn they were expected to pay a ton of royalty of about 10 rupees, which perhaps accumulated to about several crores today. In a suo motu view, Please mark these things. The Honorable APERC has reduced the tariff for these projects from their existing PPA by 7.5% with effect from April 2004. They were commissioned in December and November of the previous year, and there was a tariff reduction in the subsequent year in a suo moto. Nobody asked, it's a suo moto review. As the choice of technology was a traveling rate, not a moving rate, the use of supplementary fuel was proved to be fatal from the economic perspective. The Lucknow plant was operated for 6 months. Digesters as well as the engine was working to full capacity of 5 megawatt. When an alternate substrate like the slaughterhouse waste or when the cow dung is added, but not with the segregated municipal waste that they processed. This is the report, this is the gist of the report captured by the expert committee headed by Professor Biswas, former chief chairman. Now, the limitations of the compost process as a standalone solution, we need not deliberate further. We are pretty sure about what these are. Now comes to MSW rules. Have these rules failed us? We will come to that question in the last. Are they utopian? Yes, in my viewpoint. Are they vague? Yes. Do they allow the to pass the buck? Yes. They provide leeway. Every individual, every stakeholder can pass and rotate it. Processes, practically all forms of waste management can be adopted. Benchmark levels and performance standards stipulated, but for the emission standards, 100%, international standards. Under these conditions, now what are the interventions that are required as a policy measure or what the regulators are expected to contribute to sustain the solid waste management? Stipulating a set of meaningful eligibility criteria for technical and financial strengths during the tender stage. Proper technical financial due diligence that is carried out on the bidders. Model the draft agreements on even risk sharing basis. The urban local bodies to identify and delineate waste disposal sites for future and get them environmentally cleared. Zero waste, zero diversion, apologies to Mr. Evixil, are attractive buzzwords, no precedents. That is what even Professor Temilis told us. Carrying out a technology of a neutral tender process. Avoiding interference and respecting the concession agreements that are entered into. And providing an escalation on WPI and inflation basis. There is an aberration in terms of the tariff-based bidding process that was carried out, despite the fact that there are no guidelines for carrying out tariff-based bidding process for renewable energy and only the draft guidelines are available. There was an adventurous bidding in the yester years, causing a stumbling block to the present developers. Points to a very immature bid process that is causing both short-term and long-term harm to the industry. And the need to involve the regulators of this field into this discourse is a priority. Hopefully we do that in the next time. The CERC is very clear. It says, the project specific tariff on case-to-case basis shall be determined by the Commission for following type of projects. 1. Municipal solid waste. It means the biomethanation project at Sholapur and some other project, if it is coming up in Maharashtra, can have different tariffs. The waste to energy project have different technologies, different scales, different geographical constraints. Therefore, it is on different scope of work that is allotted. Sometimes there can be no sanitary landfill as an obligation, sometimes there can be a sanitary landfill which costs about 250 rupees a ton. Therefore, the tariff that is required for municipal waste shall be determined on a case-specific basis. Need not be same. There cannot be any benchmarking. Now, is it possible that we try to tell that the MSW energy is a must-buy? We have a strong RPO regime on paper. It exists on paper. We have learned that the REC's market is not as much as it ought to be or it was projected to be. Non-harnessing of this municipal waste energy, it will continue to result into enhanced methane emissions, which captured by Professor Temlis in his presentation. Then why not stipulate a must-buy of a certain percentage of MSW energy by the DISCOMs? Alternatively, the ULBs can reimburse the additional sum on purchase of that electricity to the DISCOMs over and above a certain base price by purchasing this power, either in conjunction with a tipping fee or on a standalone basis. This solution can come for the urban local body itself. Now we see some of the typical tender stipulations, how these are modern. I am reading from an extract. I am not citing which tender is this. We are taught by English. We are taught English by Bangladesh. We are good, but this is deliberate English. In view of the problems of treatment and disposal of MSW, the technology employed should be non-polluting, no or less landfill, with suitable leachate treatment system inbuilt, within brackets solid and liquid, which are likely to increase with growth of population and urbanization. An integrated approach to waste processing and treatment will be necessary as brought out in MSW Rules 2000. What is the scope of the work? Can anybody guess? Then another typical tender stipulation, broad scope of work for the project, awareness campaigns and or, it's a legal language, and or activities for MSW source storage, source segregation in the project area, construction and development of municipal solid waste processing facility for processing municipal waste, marketing its outputs and conducting its operation, maintenance during concession period. All the above facilities and the services should meet the desired environmental norms, and also should be in line with MSW rules, notified by ministry. All other obligations deemed fit for the successful operation, with no or minimum breakdown. Another one. By submitting the bid, the bidder shall be deemed to have acknowledged that it was pre-qualified and shortlisted on the basis of technical capacity and financial capacity of those of its consortium members who will own 26% of the each of equity share of concessionaire. The bidder acknowledges undertakes, lead member shall also hold 26%. And in the next sentence, the technical consortium member shall hold a minimum of 5%. This is click and paste. We brought several things together and confused, and in the end it ends up in litigation. Now what are the financing issues? Financing an MSW project is considered risky. From a developer's perspective, if 500 crores, 300 crores costing projects are to be brought and invested by private participant under PPP mode, not definitely for charity, but then how can they be supported? We have a stagnant compost price, 1300 rupees, sir, not 2000. No reasonable insight into what the tariff would be. Will the user charges be realized? Will the payments toward tipping fee be paid in time? I tell you, we are getting not less than in 90 days of time, and in some cases it is 5 months. Can there be a trust and retention account to give the comfort to the lenders? Will the municipality ask its bankers to pay and let the bankers charge them the interest? Can we live without a working capital and without getting paid? Can there be an assurance that discriminatory, subjective evaluation of performance will not be carried out to impose unreasonable penalties? The bin is overflowing at that point of time. And 24/7, can I ensure that it does not overflow because of the littering habit of the public? Can the Indian waste sector attract private investment without answering these imponderables and motivate technology participation from abroad? Are our projects bankable with this kind of language and with this kind of concession agreements and with this kind of attitude? We go back to MSW rules again. MSW rules have not failed. They have not failed us. Why they have failed us? Why do we blame them? They have provided everything we have installed bioreactor landfill, we have installed waste incineration project, we have installed compost, we have biomethanation, we have pyrolysis in this country. There was no depth of technology options. It is option of the urban local body. Professor Madam was yesterday telling us that she says it is wrong to say that the urban local body should not be entrusted with the responsibility, it should be people. I'm not impressed with this. Can we say Parliament is not responsible but the people of India are responsible? Not possible. So the point is that the urban local body have to evolve for themselves as to what is their best course of action. Let them take a conscious call, how to model, how to solve their problem. They have no depth of technology. There are many people how to solve, how to manage, how to carry out a PPP tender process for a PPP, and what are the reasonable criteria. But if you pass on all the burdens, some of the tenders even now are being pushed that the environmental clearance also should be obtained by the proponent. What if the environmental clearance is not accorded? And while saying so, I am not saying that every tender process is like that, majority. There are some processes which are carried out very professionally, very transparently, like the Metropolitan Authority in Mumbai. Not necessarily. Some of them are very good, some of them are done. Therefore, now I sometimes feel that is that the scientific community is doing enough? Have we advised the urban local bodies that they need not be held captive of the technology options at their solutions? They have everything at their disposal. I conclude by quoting something here because the subject has come up yesterday. 1 minute, sir. The BMC commissioner has informed us yesterday that they spend about 2,000 crores per annum, and about 80% of that, if I heard rightly, is going towards collection and transportation, and which is generating about 8,000 tons of waste. It works out to about 5,479 rupees per ton. And Madam has also said that in the afternoon that she has worked out, and of course, political
point very strongly. Hope somebody is listening.